Hello everyone, Bashar here. So we are together with another Diablo video. Might be lost, we'll see. So in the previous videos, we talked about how the bossing system changed in season 8, and then we went over the journey, right? This time around, I'm just gonna showcase you my build. If we go by our Path of Exile standards, I would say this would be around B to A tier, right? There are some, the boss damage is not very good, right? And there is a bit of a downtime. Yeah, I'll explain and you'll decide. It's not a bad build at all, right? I can do everything in the game, right? At this point, if I went for it, I think I could handle stuff nearing 90 pit. A bit of a gear upgrade, proper masterworking, etc. I think this build can reach about 100, but that would be the cap, I'm guessing. So what do we do, guys? It's a Whirlwind Barbarian. I love it from Diablo 3 and all of the other games I've been playing, right? I did it in Path of Exile, I did it in Grim Dawn, right? I like the spin to win build, so I tried leveling with one. It wasn't pleasant. It's not a good leveling build, and then at the end I realized Whirlwind itself is not good enough. But the thing is, we are still going to Whirlwind, but actually visually it looks like we are playing a Whirlwind build, but in actuality we will be doing earthquakes, right? Earthquakes will be dealing our damage, but Whirlwind will be a nice enabling system for it. So we are a Whirlwind earthquake build, so to speak. So what do we go for? So we go with Ugly Bastard Helm. Yeah, that's the name, right? I was surprised. It's a bit profane. But yeah, Ugly Bastard Helm, and it made me transmogrify. It's that ugly. No, I don't really transmogrify. So, and in this build, guys, one of the things that gives me pause is, there is so much that you don't use at all in your items, right? Normally, guys, the builds I was playing before is, everything comes together beautifully, right? You get a passive from there, you do something from there, right? It all adds up and makes a perfect build. So, for example, on this Ugly Bastard down, right? If you pay attention, I don't even have Wrath of the Berserker on my bars, right? So the implicit is useless because it's fire resistance, and the thing is, I can't really get all of the other resistances one by one. I generally have to go for all resistances, so that implicit is useless. Wrath of the Berserker cooldown reduction is useless. That lucky hit is useless. The passives are doing something, I guess. Prolific Fury and Aggressive Resistance, let's take a look at them. Prolific Fury and these are the two, I think. Additional damage reduction by Berserking and increased Fury generation. Yeah, these are not bad, but it's definitely not worth wearing this item. Wrath of the Berserker to explode, useless. You deal 96% fire damage. That's the only thing that we care about on this item, right? Because you'll see that we'll be dealing pure fire damage, so this is pure damage up for us, right? This literally doubles up our damage if it's perfect, and the passives are not bad. So guys, when you masterwork this item, you want, I'm guessing, aggressive resistance as a greater affix, right? I mean, I'm talking about an item with a single greater affix, right? So what you would want the greater affix on, it would be aggressive resistance and prolific fury in that order, and you want to triple masterwork the aggressive resistance so you can have a lot of damage reduction. We will be permanently berserking the way that we, so as you can see, guys, while berserking, your direct damage is converted into fire and you deal 96%, and we will be doing our best to be permanently berserking. You'll observe we'll be permanently berserking anyway. Second one is this one. As you can see, again, a useless implicit and useless stuff. 100% Hammer of Ancients. I don't have Hammer of Ancients on my bars. The implicit does nothing. Armor, of course, has some value. Hammer of the Ancients does nothing. Defensive stance, I believe it does a little bit something. Defensive stance. That's it. Okay, yeah. While fortified, you get an additional damage reduction and heal for 4% of your life every second. Yeah. So there is that. That does a little bit of something, but no big deal. Chance to deal earthquake double damage. Our build is an earthquake build, and we deal all of our damage in earthquakes, so that is very powerful. And you definitely want the greater effects on this one, and you want to triple masterwork it, right? And when you triple masterwork it, it goes up to 60%, I think, right? If you can get a second greater effects, I suppose you'll want defensive stance, because the armor is kind of going to, solve itself. The unique power, it does nothing. We don't even have Hammer of Ancients on our bars. On the gloves, we have life, armor, and crit chance. What you would actually want would be life, crit chance, crit damage, or life, crit chance, lucky hit, make enemies vulnerable, because we do have a few mechanics to make enemies vulnerable, but not that much, right? And you imprint Dust Devil on the gloves, right? And the temperings are earthquake size and damage while berserking. Then we have our third and last unique. I mean, if you don't classify the mythic unique as a unique, we have our Arts Bearing. This time around we use the item. It's interesting. Life, ultimate damage, meh. We still deal earthquake damage, but resistance to all elements and Call of the Ancients cooldown reduction. So in here, guys, this item is perfectly masterworked. It's a little bit of luck, because when you're reducing the cooldown of an item, so normally it's very hard to reach that level in Diablo 4, but it's capped by 75% of the base cooldown. So, let's say you have a cooldown of 40 seconds, right? And even if you have a 90% cooldown reduction, it will not go below 10 seconds, right? You can reduce it to a quarter of the original value. But the thing is, guys, we are using Call of the Ancients, and the thing is, levels to Call of Ancients gives Call of Ancients cooldown reduction. Normally, guys, Call of the Ancients cooldown is like 50 seconds. You max it out, it goes down to 42 seconds or something, and we will be using something that will give additional ranks to our Call of the Ancients, so it goes down to 38 seconds at the time. So that 38 seconds, you are allowed to reduce it to a quarter of the original value, and if you divide 38 by 4, you will end up with 9.5, right? So you do not want more than double. So you definitely want the greater effects on the Call of the Ancients cooldown reduction, and double masterworking it is fine. The third one could be life or all resistance. Resistance will be handled later on as well. So, but earlier on you could, right? And greater effects on anything is nice, right? Life, all res, they're all fine. But guys, the first one is non-negotiable, right? I mean, I would say this one is not important. This one you want a chance for earthquake deal double damage, Call of the Ancients cooldown reduction. You want the greater effects there. On the gloves, you would probably want the greater effects on the crit chance. We have the boots. You want strength, life, movement speed, or you want strength, Warcry, skill levels, movement speed. Warcry is allowing you to deal more damage. So when you have more ranks to Warcry, it will be more damage. So you could let the life go there, and you want the greater effects on the strength and maybe the movement speed. Boots are a little bit cheap. You can handle double greater effects. So guys, why am I not recommending triple greater effects on everything? Because it's not affordable, right? Single greater effects is fine. Double greater effects it gets expensive already. Triple greater effects will be in the 2-digit billions. If you get it, of course, fine. But if you don't, it's not a problem. We imprint the Grasping Whirlwind. If you are having a bit of a movement speed problems, you could go for Ghostwalker earlier on, and we temper earthquake size and movement speed. Be careful that the earthquake sizes do not take up too many master working rolls, because size bonuses are always capped by 100%. If you are going about 100%, it's going to waste. So mine, as you can see, is 94%. It's fine. It has taken up a roll. We generally want the strength to take up all the rolls here, but this is not too far below. And the other temper is movement speed, if I haven't said it. Then we have the bludgeoning weapon. We want to use mace in here, and as you can see, I have double great graphics here. So you want strength, life, crit damage, and the tempers will be close enemy damage and earthquake chance twice. That's very important. And you want to triple master work it. If it's perfect, if it's 78% at the base, right? If the base tempering value is perfect and you can triple master work it, it will go all the way up to 88%. It's beautiful. We imprint earthquakes on it, which makes our ground stomp trigger an earthquake. And while you stand in earthquakes, and 4 seconds afterwards, which will be all the time, we will be doing 112% increased damage. And on top of that, our earthquakes deal 112% increased damage as well. Of course, it's very important. We go buck tech, which whenever we keep running, it will trigger an earthquake. So guys, I will keep running and earthquakes will keep raining. This is very important. Buck is a little expensive, but it's worth it. And then the dual wield weapons. We want again strength, life, crit damage, close enemies, heavy hitter. Heavy hitter is a passive that allows us to deal more damage. As you can see, I have 15 ranks on it. Ultimate skills, earthquakes and dust devils deal more damage. It's beautiful. Okay. So we want close enemy damage and heavy hitter, and we want executioner, overpower, spawn and earthquake. So guys, we can't do anything about overpower. Overpower is only 3%, but the main deal is your earthquake damage is increased by 5% for every 100 strength you have, up to 200%. That's why we want a lot of strength, right? I mean, it gives us the regular skill damage as our main stat, but also there is this. And take a look at this, guys. I'm getting 180% damage, right? Next up, we have the other weapon. We use anger management here. That is one of the other. This is the main way that we are berserk permanently. So again, strength, like crit damage, close enemy damage, heavy hitter, and we imprint anger management on it. While about 40 fury, this is a aspect that is more powerful when it's a lower amount. Why? Because if it says 55, we'll be berserk above 55 fury. With this, we are berserk above 40 fury, so we lose also 2 fury per second. Yeah, that's what we want. And finally, we have the incendiary fishes on the polearm, which is our whirlwind weapon. You should be, setting it up manually. Again, strength, like crit damage and heavy hitter are the imprints, and we have the incendiary fishes, which is increased earthquake damage, and their damage is converted to fire, right? And we have ignithol in them. This allows us to do every 3.5 seconds or so. We freeze and inflict vulnerable. Vulnerable is a little bit shaky, that's why we do this. So that's why I suggested that you could have lucky chance to inflict vulnerable on enemies. Vulnerable is a little bit shaky. And then we have the amulet, strength percentage, critical hit chance, and one of the useful passives. I got lucky. As you can see, I got +4 counteroffensive. This is self-found, and I have stuck to it. Counteroffensive is one of the best passives that you can get. Let me show you, where is it? Yeah, this one. While you have 45, you deal 28% increased damage. That's very nice. So guys, it is 4% damage up per level. So that's nice, right? Heavy-handed, heavy hitter are also good choices as well. I mean, if you can't find anything like that, you can have crit damage, attack speed, but they are a little bit inferior. And you want the great graphics to be on the strength, right? And as for the crit chance, I mean, you want to reach 100% with everything included, right? So you have to be, a little bit careful there. I mean, you don't want to triple masterwork everything into crit chance. I'll just show you. Okay, this is our only mythic. We are going to use Ring of Starless Skies. We want the great graphics to be definitely on the crit chance, and we want masterwork crit chance as much as we can until 100% crit chance is achieved, right? I have a bad distribution there, didn't do re-roll it. Yeah, and keep in mind that normal rings have 12.5% to all resistance, and then they have a second line of resistance, which is a random single element like this. With the Ring of the Starless Skies, the second line is also 12.5% all resistance again. That helps with the resistances. And then we finally have our second ring, strength, life, crit chance. You could let go of the life in favor of crit damage. And we have damage when berserking and cost reduction as tempers. On the emote I forgot damage when berserking cost reduction. So we could actually imprint, Call of the Ancients cooldown reduction on these. The problem with those is not imprint, but temper. The problem with that is, guys, as I said, the game doesn't allow you to bring the cooldown down more than the original cooldown's quarter, right? And this item handles it on its own, so it just doesn't do anything. So we do the resource cost reduction so we can keep on spinning to win. That's what we want. And we have Behemoth Brawler here, 45% damage up, and 2 ranks to the ultimate skill. It's beautiful. And finally we have Bold Chieftain. This is going to be a very painful until you can find this. This is the thing that brings the build online. I have gone a long time without it. It was very, very painful and toxic. So this allows us to do our shouts, and the thing is our shouts will reduce the cooldown of other stuff. So without this it's gonna be a lot of pain. And I did get this one, this Bold Chieftain, and this Executioner very late. Was rather painful. So that's about it for the gear. Let's take a look at the skill tree. Pop it out here. Okay, I mean, we just do the few nodes investment here, right, to move on. We just put 1 point in Whirlwind because we are not dealing damage with Whirlwind. We go for Furious Whirlwind, so bleeding is important. We want to bleed, and we invest just 1 point in this. This is our second vulnerable mechanic, and as you can see it's rather weak, right? 10% chance. Core skills, Whirlwind is a core skill, so we will be doing this all the time, but only 10%. So we have that Nova, and we have this pressure point with 1 point in it, so our vulnerable is shaky. And as I said, lucky hit, make enemies vulnerable on glove is a good idea. We have the strategic ground stomp, which basically allows ground stomp to reset the cooldown of Call of the Ancients, because it's already a 10-second cooldown anyway. So if you damage 2 enemies, it resets. If you damage just the boss, then we'll have about 5 seconds cooldown left on it. Imposing Presence, Martial Vigor, these are great stuff. We have the Strategic Rallying Cry. We have just the Enhanced Challenge Shout. We don't want the other one, that's fine. We have all the shout based passives. We have Power War Cry. We have Swiftness, be beautiful, right? We have the Aggressive Resistance and Prolific Fury. This is further helped by our items. Then we go for No Mercy, Pit Fighter, and Slaying Strike. 8 damage against injured and healthy. That's beautiful. Injured is less than 35% of life, and healthy is above 80% of life. And guys, if you take a look there, healthy works for 20% and injured works for 35%. So basically you are getting 15% increased damage for more than half of the mob's uptime. So this is like a 7 or 8% damage up. It's not bad at all. Then we have Thick Skin. Thick Skin is just to enable these nice passives, defensive stance and counter-offensive. These are great as well. And then we go to the end. We have heavy hitter, which is insane, but that's what we try to get on our tempers here. Ultimate skills, earthquakes, and dust devils. We do not care about dust devil damage. Why do we use dust devils? Because if you remember the power in the glove, the aspect in the glove, it makes our dust devils make all enemies hit by them take 25% additional damage. So they are just a layer of 25% additional damage. The dust devils damage is irrelevant. Then we have heavy-handed. That's another 18% crit damage, which is nice, right? Because we will be critting all the time, slash all the time. We have maxed out Call of the Ancients with Supreme Call of the Ancients. And finally, we have Unconstrained, more damage bonus while berserking. If our life goes low, which will not happen a lot, we are always berserk, but we are going to keep up the berserking at all times. Now let's take a look at the Paragon tree. We use Challenger, Executioner, Ire, Marshal, and Rumble. You could also level up Revenge for, if you want to climb in the pit. So I'm not saying this is bad in the pit, but Revenge can be used in the pit because 15% damage up. So this is the way that the board goes. We have the basic board here. We just grab the rare nodes and move on. Then we have the Decimator tree with Ire in it. Again, we go for the rare nodes mostly, and we try to trigger the secondary bonuses. And in the second board, it's easy, but on the third, it will become a little bit more challenging. Then the third board is this. This is not the third board. This is the third board. We go for Blood Rage and Rumble, right? You generally want to maximize these bonuses, so that's why we were imprinting those. We were tampering all those damage while berserking and close enemy bonuses, guys. We want the berserking bonus to reach somewhere, so we can reach 45% here, right? Again, we go for the rare nodes and trigger their secondary bonuses as best we can. These are way too high. I think I have some incense on me. Yeah, I do, for sure. Okay, so next up we have the Force of Nature node. Again, as you can see, this time damage versus close bonus. So 40% of our damage versus close bonus. So damage versus close needs to be really high, right? I mean, if it's 500, that's gonna be 200, right? So you wanna reach about 500 there, and you wanna reach about 450% damage when berserk moves. That's why we separate them. So that's why we don't go damage versus close or damage when berserking with everything, right? We split it so we can maximize both of these bonuses, and that will take time, right? I'm on low 200s, and yeah, it will take about this much to get it all done. We have Marshal here in the Force of Nature board, and finally we have the Weapons Master node with Challenger in it, and yeah, that's about it. For low 200 Paragon, that's it. So okay, we have gone over the gear, we have gone over the skill tree, the Paragon tree, the gems. It's rather simple. You put ruby in your armor, right? You put diamonds in your jewelry. You put critical damage, the emeralds in the one-handed weapons, and in the two-handed weapons we do our rune words. So why not the rune words in the armors? Because guys, the emerald does not contribute as much as the ruby, right? Because we want to have a lot of strength, so we can trigger this one, not this one, this one. So strength is very important to us. You want to reach 4,000 if you can, because that's the cap of this one, right? And having a greater affix on this percentage strength will help. Also, mine is on the low range. Yeah, this could be much better, and you can reach 4,000 that way. So how it plays is, guys, you do your Call of the Ancients, then you do your ground stuff that resets the cooldown. You don't need to refresh it while it's active. Then you do your shouts. The shouts will reduce the cooldown. So guys, this is the part I need to go over. So this is the very important. Take a look at the additional bonus. After casting a shout skill, the active cooldown of every other non-shout skill is reduced by 2 seconds, right? So you want to keep shouting so you can keep resetting the cooldowns of ground stomp and what's the name, Call of the Ancients, right? And this will not happen if you don't have Bolt Chieftain, right? Because guys, these have a whopping cooldown of 25 seconds, right? So Bolt Chieftain will help you reduce those cooldowns by 70%, down to like 7.5 seconds, and their duration is 3.7 seconds. So then it becomes viable, right? Before that, it's very painful. Yeah, and Bolt Chieftain is a bit of a not a very nice guy, so to speak. It only appears on rings and amulets, so I would suggest you gamble rings with your Murmuring Oboes to find it. That's how I found it, but it took quite some time. We are about 1 week in the season. You could maybe try to buy it from others. The gems are also going to be a pain. You would definitely have to buy them, or no, it will be the long game. And now let me show you how it works. As for the mercenary, we have Rahir as the main and Altkin as the side fella. Yeah, we have the Field of Languish, damage dealt reduction, and any skill doesn't really matter. With Rahir, we have this. Keep in mind though, guys, this 15% all resistance is working only when you play solo. When you are in a group, for example, if you're running bosses or if you are playing with friends, you will lose this 15% resistances because Rahir will not be with you anymore. So use this to cap your resistance at the start, but then build up your resistance a little bit more so you will have cap without Rahir. So let me just show you. Nope. Oh yeah. So this is incense, guys. But I am capped without Rahir and without any instance. Let me just find it. I think the resistances are increased by 15%. Rahir is 15% again. Yeah, we'll wait for it to expire, I guess, but I think I should have them capped. 38. I mean, fire is laughable anyway. Let me just show you. Can I just reload? Okay. Let's try pit 80. I don't think I have done 80 at all, but we should be able to handle it. This should be in the about 5 minutes neighborhood. Let's go. Okay. So guys, I do my shouts. As you see, the cooldowns are reset. I'm waiting for it to expire. It expired, I'm doing it again. And you see the downtime here? That's pretty sad. Maybe it's just fine there. That was bad pathing. I didn't go over the boss powers, did I? Okay. I will. As you can see, we are spinning to win. The damage reduction auras are annoying and we don't have single target damage, so yeah, I mean, we have to wait until the damage reduction aura guys die. Yeah. And this is it's not the end version of this build, but it is a somewhat powerful version. I mean, we do have ancestral items everywhere. They are at least properly masterworked. The greater affixes are generally where we want them. I mean, mostly single affix, but and everything is fully masterworked that you saw. For example, last season we have a much powerful. I was playing a Bloodwave Necro, and most of my items were on masterworking 8. Yeah, that 8 did survive a little bit too long. Okay. So if I pushed it, as you can see, I can definitely go higher, but yeah, didn't bother that much. But this is when it starts to fall short. So guys, around 2 minutes, that is, that means you're face rolling the content, right? But when it starts to go about 2 minutes, that means you are slowly starting to struggle. And well, I mean, when you're doing it 3 minutes, you can go still higher, but at around 5 minutes, which will be duration, I mean, I can at most go, you know, like 10 levels higher, maybe. 5 levels higher I can definitely, but 10 levels higher is a bit of a question. But of course, you know, you keep getting more powerful all the time. You know, you get Paragon levels, you get glyph upgrades, you improve your masterworking if you do that as well. So I will also show you a few bosses. So the bosses are at this point, Torment 4 bosses are, I mean, there are some that do not allow you to kill them because of the intermissions, but, you know, regular fights like, you know, Varshan, Beast and Ice, etc. They are about, I would say, 5 seconds each. So guys, if the cooldown of Call of the Ancients is approaching, I would suggest, you know, waiting for it and then using it and then using the shouts, because then you would be wasting the cooldown reduction. Because as you can see, this is not seamless, right? We have downtime, even with Bold Chieftain. Now imagine how bad it is without Bold Chieftain. I hope you don't have to. And because the other stuff is nice, they add damage, right? Bold Chieftain, without Bold Chieftain, you can't play. And so what is a temporary malaise, right? What can you do to make the build somewhat functional? Because, you know, I went through that. What I did was, guys, I got a cooldown reduction on my amulet. I mean, the cooldowns were down to like, I don't know, like 20 seconds or something. Maybe a little bit better, but that's about it. And of course, you know, at the time I was doing much lower pits, so the damage was good at least. There were no epic fights like this. Okay, they freeze me. Don't want to be frozen. This also is Rallying Cry is also your source of unstoppable. Well, I did chat a little bit too much, I guess, because we are hitting the 5 minutes mark and we are not even at the boss. This is gonna be like 6 minutes or so. Yeah. There were a few mistakes there, I guess. Yeah. This is perfectly fine to finish the season journey, right? I did finish the season journey. I did, what's the name? Dark Citadel, right? Everything is possible. Right, you can do Belial on Torment 4, and I'm talking about solo, right? Not leeching in a group. You can do everything. Infernal Hordes is just, you know, facial, it's only Torment 4 anyway. I did actually showcase this build's bossing potential to you guys in my bossing video, but, you know, for the sake of this video, I shall repeat that bonus. Wow, it's gonna be above 6 minutes. That's not good. So guys, yeah, I think 85-ish without improving stuff on this build would be the cap. If you recall, guys, my aspects are by no means perfect. I have like 15% or so damage up waiting for me there. The good thing about the build is, guys, it's very tanky, and most of the time survivability is not a concern. Whoa, it was long. We stunned him for the second time. As you can see, guys, I don't have to dodge the, you know, the secondary boss appears and does something at me. I just don't care. Yeah, that's about it. We also had a bounty on it, okay. And of course, we are going to get some damage out of this. This is like 2.5% or so damage up when we do all of it, approximately. So the boss powers, before I forget. So guys, we use the Wandering Death's chest beam. Its level is actually irrelevant. The thing is that it makes us deal 50% more damage. Multiplicative, right? Channeling skill, Whirlwind is a channel skill. And as for the modifier powers, we have Liliths that spawns those blisters that you saw. The good thing about the blisters is, guys, we do not have very good single target damage, but we do decent AoE. So we can damage those blisters for 10% of the boss's total life and deal 4%. So guys, imagine I'm fighting the boss, 2 blisters spawn against boss's 2 blisters spawn, and I deal 10% damage to the boss, and the 2 blisters die as well, dealing 4% each, 18%, right? So instead of dealing 10%, I deal 18%. That's pretty useful. Next up, we have the Harbinger of Hatred's volley. We don't cast basic skills, but what we do is activating your main boss power grants you 30% increased vulnerable damage. You might remember that vulnerable was a little bit shaky. That's why we want the lucky hit thingy on the gloves. So that is another additional layer of 30% damage if we have the vulnerable. And finally, we have Black Mirror Sabotage. That's very nice. Whenever you gain Fortify, we gain Fortify all the time. So we also gain Barrier. Take a look at this, right? Ourselves goes insane. I do this, and so we will have 25k HP, a lot of damage reduction from Fortify, and 25k Barrier. That's about it. And if you are having problems with Lilith, guys, keep in mind that you can beat her on Torment 1. It doesn't have to be Torment 4. You can do it with others, and you can do it on Torment 1. Okay, now let's see which boss is the lucky one. So we have Beast in Ice, and I will remind you again that we can now teleport to boss layers. I, by the way, have around 80% crit rate, I think. Let me show it to you. It's not ideal. Yeah, 82%. If I drink the potion, it goes up to like 88% or something. You generally ideally want that to be on 100%, but you know, as you can see, the build just works the other way around as well. Okay. Chop, chop. Okay, so guys, I need to stack the earthquakes, and as you can see, I think 5 seconds is not very unfair, right? And yeah, bossing changes. Do this. Belial didn't show up. If Belial did show up, also I could have shown it to you. Belial also dies quickly. So the other ones that they have been amped up a little bit. They do have annoying intermissions and whatnot. So let me just also show you Duriel. I think that should be enough data. Okay, let's go Duriel. So guys, now Duriel and Dariel, Harbinger of Hatred, and obviously Lilith and Belial are harder than the original package, right? Zero, etc. Urivar has been added to the weaker bosses, so these are harder, right? I mean, they have annoying intermissions that does not allow you to one-shot them. So even if you have infinite damage, guys, you cannot one-shot these. You'll just observe now. At about 70% or so, he should be burrowing. See? No, that's not to do with my damage, right? He burrows. Okay, we run. Now his pangs will spawn. So you have to do this twice. I don't know if you can skip it by doing extreme high damage, but I think he just gets the damage reduction, and you have to undergo this phase twice at the very least. He's not gonna come back up now. Let's pick it up where we left off. I have terrible cooldowns, sadly. Okay, he goes in again. Yeah, my bolt chieftain is not perfect, so it does slow me down. Let's rain a few earthquakes on its ugly face. Should do him. Have to be careful that Duriel doesn't reach us while burrowing. Okay, comes back. And that should be a kill, I think. Yeah, that's about it. So guys, and Daryl also does these. Harbinger of Hatred also does these. There is a minimum of 2 intermissions in which the boss becomes immune, and you have to dodge certain one-shot mechanics. I don't think you could dodge these, right? in the last patch you could have extremely high damage and you could just one-shot the boss. Not a thing anymore as far as I can tell. So yeah, so the build handles everything, guys. Pit potential, I would say 100 would be a definite cap, but you can do like up to 90s. So guys, what could I have improved? I could have had perfect masterworking here, right? More great graphics. So this one, it doesn't matter that much, but that 96% could have been 100%, that would have almost added 4% damage for me, right? This one, I could have triple masterworking the earthquake damage. I could have gotten another suffix, another great graphics on the defensive stance and whatnot. On this one, we just have a bad great graphics. That's actually very bad. And so guys, let me, if I log out, would that happen? There's no need. I mean, I wanna shake the incenses. If I log in and log out, I think I should be able to get rid of them. I can't right click on them like in World of Warcraft, I think. No, can't shake them. Okay. I did shake them. Okay. As you can see, they are all capped. And guys, take a look at this, guys. 16% away, which means I remove Rahir, right? I'm still gonna have it capped, right? But this is done later on. First of all, you wanna try to cap with Rahir, then you cap it without Rahir as well. So when you're playing in Infernal Hordes, when you're doing boss runs, yeah, the resistances will still remain capped. And as you can see, guys, this is quite the waste. I have 385 armor. If I remove it, I'm just gonna go below cap, and that can be handled with a little bit of more strength, because strength gives you armor and maybe a few passive nodes. So that would handle the armor. So I'm basically wasting an affix here, and I could also do the masterworking properly as well. So for example, guys, in here, chance for earthquake cost twice, double, triple masterworked in here as well. So I could add a little power, long story short, and I would say I would be able to force like 100s at the end. That's it. I could get more paragons. I could level my glyphs. My glyphs are 71 now with the pit that we just did, right? I could get them to 100. That would add a lot of damage, like almost double my damage, I think, if I do the remaining levels. The paragon levels are of course gonna help as well. So, but as I said, guys, 100 I would say is the absolute cap for this build. So if you want to go for something that's S tier, maybe that's not the build for you, but I like it as a season starter. It is, sadly, the most annoying thing about it is it's heavily reliant on aspects. Before you get the Bolt Chieftain, it's a huge pain. Yeah, but as I said, the season has, we are well into the season now, and trading for it for a bad version wouldn't be too bad. And this is a aspect, guys, that is not that bad when you have a low aspect, because the thing is, guys, the cooldown reduction being capped at 70% does not vary, right? Even if you have a 10%, right? If there are 7 enemies around you, you are going to get the max cooldown reduction. When does it matter? It matters when there are not too many enemies around you, and then you won't be able to get the thing, right? Because at 30%, guys, against bosses, we will have the boss and 2 blisters thanks to Lilith's power, and we will be able to cap it. So for example, right now I can't cap it, right? The boss plus 2 blisters, and I do it. There are 3 enemies nearby, and the blister counts as an enemy, and I'm getting 60% cooldown reduction, which leads to a lot of downtime, right? I want this to be better, but I just don't have it. So that is that. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask them, and I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.